Welcome to Spartan Advice, where I try to reach out to the men and boys of the world who need help with their struggles in life. My name is Blake Spartan, and I thank you for spending this time with me. I just want to start today's video by saying that I planned on this topic being the 12th video that I release, but due to recent events, I have moved it to my first, because I believe a lot of men and young boys are struggling with the state of the nation more than ever right now. I am personally a centrist and politically independent. It's easy for someone like myself to take a step back and see both the good and the bad of each political side. And I see the right and the left at war with each other over their opposing beliefs. And I want to say it is never okay to harm another person over voicing opposing views. The death of Charlie Kirk is not only an affront to individuality, but to free speech itself. And whether you agree or disagree with his views, we as a society must come together to protect the free speech and open discourse that Charlie proudly stood by. We must not be silenced in this time of crisis. We must not be deterred from voicing our views, and we must not allow ourselves to close that door on open discourse, even with those who hold opposing positions from our own. Otherwise, we will never grow as people. We will never grow as a society. And we must be willing to have an open discourse with others as peacefully and respectfully as possible. If you display violence, hostility, and animosity towards people who are willing to hold a discussion with us, then we will never change anyone's mind. We will only turn others away from our causes. In a world of hatred and malice, we must be the ones whom are peaceful and resilient in the face of adversity. Today we are going to discuss how some men are struggling with politics, political identity, and conviction in their beliefs. It is becoming more and more that people do not want to hear out opposing views and do not want to voice their own opinions due to fear of conflict, but do not let this hold you back from voicing support for the things you believe are right and true. For if we never voice our support, then we can never truly change the world for the better. Whether you believe in pro-choice or pro-life, in conservatism or progressivism, in promoting immigration or enforcement of immigration laws, in protecting people's rights to identify or protecting people's rights to speak what is true to you. We all exist in this world together, and we must be united and understanding that our views are not the only correct views, that opposing views are not inherently invalid or harmful. It is always better to listen to opposing views so you can understand where their views are coming from and how to best present your views to try and help others understand our positions as well. If we are unwilling to listen, unwilling to allow our views to be challenged, and unwilling to be open to the possibility of having our minds changed, then we can never change anyone else's minds to win them over to our causes. Remember, there is not just one right way, and there is not just one wrong way. Most people want what they believe is best for the world around them. Most people want to make the world a better place for everyone, even if we disagree on what will make the world better. When it comes to political identities, it is rare for anyone to hold all left-wing positions or all right-wing positions. Just because someone doesn't agree with one position that you hold does not mean they do not share 100 other positions that you also stand behind. Now, here's a scale that I believe properly represents what most people believe the left-wing and right-wing political spectrum looks like. Most people would define themselves as whichever side they hold the most positions on. But keep in mind that most people are more likely centrist and only lean to one side or another, as represented by the lighter shades of the left and right political spectrum. These are people who have a mixture of left-wing and right-wing political positions that typically will align slightly more with policies of one side over another, but still being able to distinguish between what they see as good and bad of each side. Classic libertarians hold slightly more right-wing positions, as aligned with what used to be renowned as left-wing social policies and right-wing economic policies back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. And as the political views of each side have changed over the further decades, more classic libertarians have become Republicans, as they have minimized the reach of the far right upon the political scale. What used to be left-wing liberals back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s have successfully changed right-wing policies to align more with their own values and integrated their views into the Republican Party. Classic libertarians want equality for all through a colorblind lens. They want a world where skin color is no different than hair color, eye color, nose shape, lips shape, or shoe size. They want a society where everyone is seen as equal people. They want a society where all rights are equal for all peoples. They want all peoples to coexist in harmony regardless of race, sex, beliefs, sexual preference, or identity. And they want people to thrive under a meritocracy and free market, where people can become successful and wealthy based on the merit of their character, the hard work they put into their businesses, and the quality they put into the products and services. On the opposite side of the Libertarian Party are the modern libertarians, whom hold slightly more left-wing positions, as aligned with what is renowned as today's left-wing social policies and right-wing economic policies. With the ever-changing positions of the left-wing and right-wing that comes from the views over the generations, the moderate libertarians want a society that recognizes and respects the plights and the values of different peoples, cultures, and communities. They want a society that allows cultures to become prominent and in the forefront over individuality coexistence. While most coexistence leads to a merger of cultures together to live peacefully, the prominence of cultures is the idea that all cultures can thrive together separately to keep those cultures intact and allow them to thrive alongside other cultures. Modern libertarians also believe that the government should have as little intervention into civilians' lives as possible. Modern libertarians are very distrustful of the government and hold beliefs like taxation is theft, a strong and sometimes hostile opposition on government, and state law enforcement impeding on the rights of the people.